He said to me once, he said, you know, because Mom passed away, I'm afraid you're going to.
Hollywood often portrays love in its most glamorous and dramatic forms: grand gestures, whirlwind romances, and fairy tale weddings. However, real-life love stories rarely follow a script, and in some cases, they are tested by life's most difficult challenges. While the entertainment industry is known for fleeting relationships and high-profile breakups, some actors have shown an extraordinary level of devotion to their spouses, proving that true love extends far beyond the red carpet. This video explores the stories of actors who stood by their ailing wives, offering unwavering support as they battled life-threatening illnesses. These men, despite their fame, fortune, and demanding careers, chose to prioritize love over everything else. Some put their careers on hold, others became full-time caregivers, and a few advocated for medical research in their spouse's memory. Their journeys are a testament to the strength of the human heart and the enduring power of commitment. With that, let's begin with actors who made personal sacrifices, putting love and family above fame. Rick Moranis. At the peak of his career, Rick Moranis was a household name, starring in iconic films like Ghostbusters, 1984, Little Shop of Horrors, 1986, and Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, 1989. He was known for his sharp comedic timing and lovable everyman persona.
When will then be now? Soon.
Yet, behind the scenes, his life took a heartbreaking turn. Moranis married Ann Belsky, a talented makeup artist, in 1986. The couple had 2 children, Mitchell and Rachel, and lived a seemingly joyful life. However, their happiness was short-lived when Ann was diagnosed with breast cancer. Moranis became her primary support system, accompanying her to treatments, caring for her at home, and doing everything possible to help her fight the disease. Tragically, Ann passed away on February 4th, 1991, just one day before her 35th birthday. Her death left Moranis devastated, but even in his grief, his primary concern was his 2 young children. Realizing that the demands of Hollywood would prevent him from being the hands-on father they needed, he made a shocking decision. He stepped away from acting altogether. By 1997, Moranis had effectively retired from Hollywood. While he continued to do occasional voice work, he rejected major film offers, opting instead to raise his children in privacy. In an interview years later, he explained that he found it impossible to balance the demands of a film career with being a single parent. Hollywood, with all its glamour and opportunity, no longer held any importance for him. His focus was on his children, ensuring they had a stable and loving upbringing. Though he largely avoided the spotlight for nearly 2 decades, his decision to prioritize fatherhood over fame stands as a remarkable act of love. Only in recent years has Moranis gradually returned to select projects, but his legacy is not just that of a comedy legend. It is also that of a devoted father who made the ultimate career sacrifice for his family. Stanley Tucci. Unlike Moranis, who left Hollywood, Stanley Tucci continued working but carried a heavy emotional burden throughout his wife's illness. His journey is one of love, regret, and enduring grief. Tucci married Kate Spath, a social worker, in 1995. Together they built a beautiful family, raising 5 children, 3 of their own and 2 from Kate's previous marriage. Their relationship seemed unshakable, but Tucci briefly struggled with commitment when he had an affair with actress Edie Falco in 2002. Though the affair led to a temporary separation, Tucci soon realized that Kate was irreplaceable, and he returned to his family, determined to mend their bond. However, just a few years later, tragedy struck. In 2009, Kate was diagnosed with breast cancer. This time, Tucci never wavered. He stood by Kate's side through every painful stage of treatment. He balanced his career with hospital visits, caregiving, and supporting their children, but despite all efforts, Kate passed away later that year. Tucci has since admitted that grief consumed him, and he was overcome with regret for not being by her side in her final moments.
You know, you're living in fear that it's going to come back.
He has spoken openly about how difficult it was to see her suffer, how he struggled with helplessness, and how the pain of watching someone he loved waste away was unbearable. Even though he continued working, the loss of Kate left a deep void in his life. 7 years after Kate's passing, Tucci remarried Felicity Blunt, the sister of actress Emily Blunt, and they welcomed 2 more children together. However, even in his new marriage, he remains deeply connected to Kate's memory. He has said that grief never truly fades, and that even though life moves forward, a part of him will always long for the past. Tucci's story highlights the emotional complexities of loss, proving that even with new love and happiness, the wounds of the past never fully heal. Gene Wilder. Gene Wilder was already a beloved comedic actor when he met Gilda Radner in 1981 on the set of Hanky Panky. Their chemistry was instant, and they quickly fell in love. Wilder, known for his roles in Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory and Young Frankenstein, found in Radner not just a romantic partner, but an equal in humor, creativity, and passion. Radner, a rising comedy star from Saturday Night Live,
Cut spelled backwards still spelled cut.
adored Wilder with the same intensity. They married in 1984, building a life filled with laughter and warmth. However, just 2 years later, their happiness was shattered when Radner was diagnosed with ovarian cancer. Wilder, refusing to leave her side, became her primary caregiver. He took her to countless treatments, stayed with her through painful procedures, and did everything in his power to keep hope alive. Radner endured a long and painful battle, but despite her strength, she passed away on May 20th, 1989, at the age of 42. Wilder was devastated. The woman who had brought him so much joy and love was gone. The pain of losing her changed him forever, and in the years that followed, he became an outspoken advocate for cancer awareness and research. In her memory, Wilder co-founded Gilda's Club, a support organization for cancer patients and their families. He dedicated much of his life to ensuring that no one else would have to endure the same battle without help. Even after he remarried years later, he often spoke about Gilda with a deep and enduring love. Their story remains one of the most touching in Hollywood, a reminder that even in tragedy, love can leave a lasting impact. Johnny Cash. Johnny Cash and June Carter Cash had one of the most legendary romances in country music history. Their love story spanned decades, filled with passion, music, and an unbreakable bond that defied all obstacles. They first met in the early 1960s when Cash was already a rising star, but his life was troubled. He was battling addiction and struggling with personal demons. Yet June saw something in him worth saving. Despite being married to other people at the time, their connection was undeniable. June became Cash's closest companion, helping him overcome his darkest moments. They married in 1968 and built a life together, not just as husband and wife, but as musical partners. Their duets became iconic, and their performances radiated genuine love. As they grew older, June's health began to decline. She suffered from heart issues and underwent multiple surgeries. Cash, who had once been the one who needed saving, now became her pillar of strength. He stayed by her side, caring for her in her final years. On May 15, 2003, June passed away at the age of 73. Cash was devastated, and those close to him said he was never the same again. Only 4 months later, on September 12, 2003, Johnny Cash passed away as well. Many believe the heartbreak of losing June contributed to his death. Their love was so strong that even death could not keep them apart for long. Their story remains one of the most powerful love stories in music history, a testament to devotion, sacrifice, and the way two people can become so intertwined that their souls refuse to be separated. Liam Neeson. Liam Neeson and Natasha Richardson's love story began on stage in 1993 when they starred together in a Broadway production of Anna Christie. Their onstage chemistry quickly turned into a real-life romance, and within a year, they were married. Over the years, they built a beautiful life together, raising 2 sons, Michael and Daniel, while both balancing successful acting careers. Richardson, a member of the legendary Redgrave acting family, was known for her grace and elegance, while Neeson was admired for his quiet strength. Together, they formed one of Hollywood's most admired couples, always appearing deeply in love in public and even more so in private. Their life was filled with happiness until March 2009, when Richardson suffered a severe head injury in a skiing accident in Quebec. At first, it seemed minor. She even laughed off the fall and refused medical help, but within hours, her condition deteriorated rapidly. She was rushed to the hospital, where doctors confirmed the worst. She had suffered traumatic brain injuries and was slipping away. Neeson faced the most painful decision of his life.
Said, sweetie, you're not coming back from this.
Richardson had previously told him that if she were ever in a vegetative state, she would not want to be kept alive artificially. With a heavy heart, he honored her wishes. And on March 18, 2009, at just 45 years old, Natasha Richardson passed away. Neeson was shattered. In interviews, he has spoken about how difficult it was to accept her sudden loss, how he continued to expect her to walk through the door, and how he struggled to make sense of life without her. He threw himself into work as a way to cope, but the pain never truly left him. Even years later, Neeson still speaks about Richardson with deep affection, often mentioning how he hears her voice in his mind, guiding him. He has honored her memory by ensuring their sons remember the incredible woman their mother was. His love for her remains one of the most heartbreaking yet beautiful testaments to devotion in Hollywood. Bob Newhart. For more than 60 years, Bob Newhart and his wife, Virginia Ginny Quinn, shared a love that was as strong behind the scenes as it was in the public eye. They met in 1962, thanks to comedian Buddy Hackett, who set them up on a blind date. Their connection was immediate, and they married the following year, embarking on a lifelong partnership filled with humor, mutual respect, and unwavering support. Newhart, a beloved comedian and television star, often credited Ginny as the anchor in his life. While he entertained millions with his iconic deadpan humor, she was the steady presence behind the scenes, offering guidance and support through the highs and lows of his career. Together, they raised 4 children and built a life centered on family and laughter. In the later years of their marriage, Ginny's health began to decline. Though the details of her illness remained private, Newhart was noticeably absent from the public eye during her final months, choosing to devote his time to caring for her. On April 23, 2023, Ginny passed away at the age of 82, leaving behind a grieving husband who had spent over 6 decades by her side. Newhart's heartbreak was profound. Those close to him noted that after Ginny's passing, he became noticeably withdrawn. Just over a year later, on July 18, 2024, Bob Newhart passed away at 94. Many believe that the loss of his wife played a significant role in his declining health. Their love story was a testament to lifelong devotion, proving that sometimes, when 2 souls are so deeply connected, one cannot exist for long without the other. John Travolta. For John Travolta, grief has been a recurring presence in his life. His love story with Kelly Preston began in 1989 when they met on the set of The Experts. Their connection was instant, and by 1991, they were married. Over the years, they became one of Hollywood's most admired couples, sharing a deep love that extended to their 3 children. Their happiness was shattered in 2009 when their eldest son, Jet, suffered a seizure and passed away at just 16 years old. Jet had long struggled with Kawasaki disease and autism, and his sudden death left Travolta and Preston devastated. Though their grief was immense, they leaned on each other for support, determined to keep their family strong. Just as they began to heal from their son's passing, another tragedy struck. In 2018, Kelly was diagnosed with breast cancer. For 2 years, she quietly battled the disease, choosing to keep her illness private. Travolta stood by her side, supporting her through treatments and doing everything in his power to give her comfort. Despite their efforts, Preston passed away on July 12, 2020, at the age of 57. Travolta, who had already suffered one unimaginable loss, was once again faced with overwhelming grief. After Kelly's passing, he announced that he would be stepping away from the public eye to focus on raising their 2 surviving children, Ella and Benjamin. He later admitted that losing Kelly had left a deep void in his life, and that adjusting to a world without her had been incredibly difficult.
He said to me once, he said, because Mom passed away, I'm afraid you're going to.
Even in mourning, Travolta remained a devoted father, ensuring that his children felt loved and supported. He often shares tributes to Kelly, keeping her memory alive through photos, videos, and heartfelt messages. His journey through loss is a reminder that even in the depths of sorrow, life must go on, and love never truly disappears. Pierce Brosnan. Pierce Brosnan, best known for his portrayal of James Bond, has lived through more tragedy than many realize. While he is admired for his charm, talent, and screen presence, his personal life has been marked by profound loss. The pain of losing not only his wife, Cassandra Harris, but also his adopted daughter, Charlotte, to the same cruel disease left an indelible mark on him. Before he was an international superstar, Brosnan was a struggling actor in London trying to make a name for himself. In 1977, he met Cassandra Harris, an Australian actress with a captivating presence and a career that had already brought her moderate success. Harris was married at the time, but her marriage was already faltering. Brosnan was immediately drawn to her, and once she became single, the two fell deeply in love. They married in 1980, and Brosnan became a father to Harris's 2 children from her previous marriage, Charlotte and Christopher, whom he later adopted. The couple also welcomed their own son, Sean, making their family complete. Their life together seemed perfect. Harris encouraged Brosnan's acting career, and in 1981, she even played a Bond girl in For Your Eyes Only. Her connection to the James Bond franchise was ironic, as Brosnan himself would take on the iconic role years later. However, their happiness was short-lived. In 1987, Harris was diagnosed with ovarian cancer, a disease known for its aggressive nature. Brosnan was devastated but stood by her side unwaveringly as she battled the illness for 4 painful years. He took care of her at home, accompanied her to treatments, and did everything in his power to provide comfort. Despite the best efforts of doctors and countless prayers, Harris passed away in 1991 at just 43 years old. Losing Cassandra changed Brosnan profoundly. He described a deep, consuming grief, saying that her passing left a hole in his heart that could never be filled. He was suddenly a single father, raising their children alone while trying to balance a burgeoning career. Just a few years later, in 1995, Brosnan's life changed dramatically when he landed the role of James Bond, catapulting him to worldwide fame. While the world saw him as the epitome of sophistication and success, behind the scenes, he still carried the pain of his wife's loss. Tragedy struck again in 2013 when Charlotte, the daughter he had adopted and raised as his own, was diagnosed with ovarian cancer, the same disease that had taken her mother. Brosnan once again found himself reliving the nightmare of watching someone he loved deteriorate before his eyes. He stood by her through every painful moment, hoping against hope, but this time, things would be different. But the disease was relentless, and on June 28, 2013, Charlotte passed away at 41 years old. The loss of both his wife and daughter to the same illness was unbearable. Brosnan spoke about how the pain never truly goes away, describing grief as something that lingers, never fully healing. He later said, "To watch someone you love have their life eaten away bit by this insidious disease, that kind of sorrow becomes an indelible part of your psyche." Despite these tragedies, Brosnan has found a way to carry on, though the scars of loss remain. In 2001, he remarried Keely Shea Smith, a journalist, and together they have 2 sons. Though he found love again, he has never stopped honoring Cassandra and Charlotte. He continues to raise awareness for ovarian cancer, donating to research foundations, and using his platform to advocate for better treatments. He often speaks about Cassandra and Charlotte, sharing memories and reflecting on their strength and grace. Even years later, he still wears his grief quietly but deeply, proving that some losses never truly fade. Pierce Brosnan's story is one of love, loss, and resilience. He has lived through heartbreak that many cannot fathom, yet he has carried on with dignity, ensuring that the memories of his late wife and daughter remain alive. While the world sees him as a suave Hollywood star, those who know his story understand that he is much more than that. He is a man who has endured profound sorrow and emerged with a heart that, though broken, still beats with love. Michael J. Fox. Michael J. Fox is one of the most beloved actors of his generation, known for his charismatic performances in Back to the Future, 1985, Family Ties, 1982 to 1989, and Spin City from 1996 to 2000. But beyond his Hollywood success, he has lived with an extraordinary challenge, his own battle with Parkinson's disease. Unlike the other actors in this list who supported their ailing wives, Fox's story is unique. It is his wife, Tracy Pollan, who has stood by him through his long fight against a degenerative illness. Fox's story is unique. Fox met Pollan on the set of Family Ties, where she played his character's girlfriend. Their on-screen chemistry turned into real-life romance, and after a few years of dating, they married in 1988. Together, they built a strong marriage, welcoming 4 children: Sam, Aquina, Skylar, and Esme. Just 3 years into their marriage, in 1991, Fox received devastating news. He had been diagnosed with early-onset Parkinson's disease at the age of 29.
You're very smirky.
Well, you're still pretending to be shorter than me.
The progressive neurological disorder, which affects movement and speech, was something that typically afflicted older adults, and receiving this diagnosis at such a young age was shocking. Doctors told Fox he had about 10 years left to work before the symptoms would become too severe. At first, he kept his diagnosis a secret, fearing it would affect his career and the way people perceived him. He turned to alcohol and denial, struggling to cope with the reality of his condition. It was Tracy who helped pull him through the darkest moments. She remained patient, loving, and supportive, encouraging him to seek help and confront the disease head-on. By 1998, Fox publicly revealed his condition, marking the beginning of his transformation from actor to activist. With Tracy's support, he founded the Michael J. Fox Foundation, which has since raised almost $2 billion for Parkinson's research. He continued acting for as long as he could, but by 2020, as his symptoms worsened, he officially retired. Through all the struggles, the increasing tremors, the surgeries, the setbacks, Tracy has never left his side. Fox has often said that his marriage is the reason he keeps going, calling Tracy his anchor and best friend. In interviews, he describes her as the person who keeps him grounded, reminding him that despite his illness, he is still the same man she fell in love with. Michael J. Fox's story is a testament to the power of love and unwavering support in the face of adversity. Though he is the one battling an illness, his and Tracy's marriage has been a partnership of strength, proving that true love is about standing by each other, even when the future is uncertain. The stories of these actors and their wives prove that true love transcends fame, fortune, and even death. Whether through unwavering devotion in the face of illness, the sacrifices they made to care for their loved ones, or the grief they carried after their passing. Each of these men exemplified commitment, resilience, and profound love. Rick Moranis stepped away from Hollywood to raise his children after his wife's passing. Gene Wilder turned his grief into advocacy, ensuring Gilda Radner's battle was not in vain. Pierce Brosnan and Liam Neeson suffered heartbreaking losses, but continued to honor the memories of their wives. John Travolta, Bob Newhart, and Stanley Tucci carried their grief quietly but deeply, while Michael J. Fox and Tracy Pollan have shown that love is also about standing strong through illness together. Hollywood may be known for fleeting romances, but these stories remind us that some bonds are unbreakable. Love, when true, does not fade. It transforms, endures, and lives on in the hearts of those left behind.